what's going on, guys? So England have lost 1-0 to Italy in Milan, and before I get into this dogshit game, I just wanted to briefly discuss the lineups, because there were some questionable fucking decisions for both sides. Southgate decided to stick Bukayo Saka at left wing, despite the fact that he spent the last couple of seasons as a right winger, while Luke Shaw was left on the bench and Ben Chilwell out of the squad altogether. Don't really understand the logic behind that. I did, however, really like the look of that midfield. A trio of Rice, Bellingham and Foden is incredibly well balanced on paper, and what I'd want to see in Qatar. As for Mancini, I don't even know where to begin, really. It was a shambles from top to bottom. Although in fairness, he was missing Chiesa, Berardi, Locatelli, Verratti, Politano, Tonali, Immobile, Spinazzola, Pellegrini, Insigne and also Zaniolo, which is essentially half the bloody squad. Fucking hell. Can you imagine Paul Merson trying to say all those names? Man would have probably had a stroke while attempting it. As for the game itself, England really should have been on the front foot given all the players Italy were missing, but they created shit all. One could argue that it takes two to tango and that Mancini needs to shoulder some of the responsibility for that snooze fest, but again, he more or less had to put out a reserve side. The onus was on Southgate to take the game to the Italians, but as per usual, it was a one-dimensional setup which stifled any creativity within the side. Don't get me wrong, that back five with a double pivot is great under certain circumstances, but you can't possibly expect it to work as well when you're overwhelming favourites for the game, which is a huge concern going into the World Cup considering they're in a group containing Iran, the USA and Wales, who will set up with a low block in an attempt to frustrate. Southgate's changes in the second half were an absolute piss take as well. The substitutions were quite clearly reactive rather than proactive. Every man and their dog could see that they needed fresh legs to switch things up a little bit, but instead, he waits till Italy get on the score sheet before making changes in the 70th minute. Take nothing away from Raspadori, by the way. Immaculate control, wonderful turn, and unstoppable finish into the corner of the net. Thereafter, England did create a couple of half chances, but that was only because they decided to throw the kitchen sink at their opposition by flooding players forward, which left them susceptible on the break and gave Italy plenty of opportunities of their own to put the game to bed. I know the Nations League isn't everyone's cup of tea, but in my eyes, it's a hell of a lot better than those meaningless friendlies we've had over the years. At the end of the day, there's silverware to be won, which is something England so desperately need given their decades-long trophy drought, so can't be looked down upon. Unfortunately, they've gone the other way and gotten themselves relegated. Not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly not a good look either. They only scored one goal in this year's edition of this tournament so far, and that was a Kane penalty. So absolutely nothing from open play, which is fucking unacceptable. It would be a real shame to see such a young, hungry and talented group of players achieve nothing, and with that in mind, I sincerely hope England bring in a modern-day, forward-thinking coach post the completion of the World Cup. Cheers for tuning in as always, folks. Please do let me know where you stand in the comments down below, and I hope you have a great weekend ahead. That Germany game is pretty much a dead rubber now, but I'll probably watch it anyways. Peace.